So today I want to do a video on Orgonite, Orgone Energy Devices, how to grid your home, where to put these devices, what are these devices. I still get a lot of messages from folks who are not sure what it is. I direct them to my website, and my website has a video on the front page called How Orgone Energy Devices Work that I did a couple years ago, and it really kind of explains the sort of the basics of how the devices work in a functional sort of aspect. How it pulls in energy on the base and sort of converts it, repels it out, So it's sort of a torus field, and the copper routes a lot of the energy, and then we have tensor technology, which produces life force as well, like Orgonite, as a supplement to make it even more potent in pulling that energy. So first thing is, you want to get Orgonite around EMF sources. So I'll do a run through here of where we put Orgonite through our house, how we grid our place, and you want to get them near where you're sleeping too. And on the ground is best, I think, for the big pyramids. They're best when they're low to the ground as possible. The other devices, they're going to be fine, like on a windowsill or on the Wi-Fi router or whatever. They don't have to necessarily be on the ground. I just feel like the way the pyramidal vortex, it creates a natural energy, sort of spiral and torus action at the same time. I just feel like it's going to be a little more functional when it's on the ground. I've had a couple clients say that they have noticed their dreams and sleep has improved when they've put it on the ground rather than up on a windowsill or something like that. Just sort of how the torus vortex works. It's hard to sort of grasp these concepts because we can't see the energy physically working, but we can sort of do a brief recap of how we know these devices work and where it came from. So we know they work because we've done water tests, we've done plant tests, we've done negative ion readings. We've had loads of testimonials from clients over the years. I have my own personal testimonial, my family testimonials, my neighbors' testimonials. So we know that they accelerate plant growth. We know that they help you sleep and feel better, and lucid dream activations are just amazing. You are having other interdimensional lucid dreamscapes. At least I am, and a lot of people I know who are tell me the same thing. These sort of, these take you into another realm when you're sleeping, and I wish everyone could experience that, because lucid dreaming is really fun. And once you're in your dream and you're in your dream, and it feels like just as real as waking life, it's really a cool thing. And I know a lot of people have sleep problems, insomnia, nightmares, not to mention migraines and depression and all these things that I think are a lot of resulting from EMF sources. And we know that the frequencies are getting higher and higher as they're rolling out 5G. And I mean, gosh, if you look in the city, there's just these macro sites, clusters right on top of where people are living, and now they're rolling out the 5G Internet of Things smart grid. So don't bring any smart appliances into your home if you can help it. And you can help it, just don't do it. Don't get any Y-gig routers, that are going to run on 5G. You want to go hardwired Ethernet if you can. I'm going to run through that in a second here, but just want to do another sort of recap about what Orgonite is and where the energy sort of came from. How do we know what it is? And I'll just run through that real quick. So Orgone Energy is life force, chi, prana, ki, ether. All these cultures have named it the same thing. And Wilhelm Reich in the 30s, 40s, 50s, he was a scientist, psychoanalyst, and doctor, and he created what's called an orgone accumulator. So it was a box you could sit in, sort of like a little phone booth, and it was layered in inorganic and organic elements like wood and fiberglass and wool and steel wool. 1-to-1 would be so you'd have one organic, then one inorganic, and then he would on the inside of the box he would have the metal sheet, and that would keep the energy oscillating in there. And so when his cancer patients would sit in this box, they would report feeling much improved sleep, just overall health was improving just by sitting in that box like half an hour for once a week. And then that started sort of growing, and people started realizing if you sit in this box, this accumulator box, you can, it's sort of a natural healing modality. So the FDA cracked down on him and threw him in jail. They called him a quack. They actually burnt all of his books. They did not want this information getting out, that you could channel the ether, the orgone, as he called it, because he was studying the orgasm. You could channel the ether just by layering inorganic one and organic 1 to 1. So again, by layering inorganic 1 to 1, you can channel the surrounding ether, and that's what we do with orgonite. Is the inorganic would be all the metals, the organic would be the resin. Okay, but Wilhelm Reich never added crystals, gemstones, minerals, all the other stuff we're adding. We're adding those components because we not only want to pull in the energy, but we want to convert any energy that's bad. We want to convert it to positive energy. And we do that in the form of negative ionization. These create negative ions, and all the electronics and the electrosmog and Wi-Fi and all that, that's positive ions. So that's not good for you, Negative ions would be, for example, if you're at the beach, at the waterfall, in the forest, it's like just nature vibes, That's why you always feel better when you're in nature. And that's why people feel better when they're around these devices, because it's doing the same thing. It's converting any dead energy, stagnant, stale energy that comes from EMF sources. And Wilhelm Reich called that door dead orgone. So there's dead orgone, and then there's orgone, which is full of life force. Okay, so on the etheric plane, there's two things: dead orgone, life force. Pretty simple, right? We have like a duality multiverse here. So the EMF sources, the chemtrails, the 5G, all that is dead energy. The radiation is dead energy, and that's why plants will not grow as well. That's why people cannot sleep as well and have cancer and nightmares, insomnia, migraines, etc. Okay, so what these devices do is they build on Wilhelm Reich's concepts of channeling the ether by utilizing the 1-to-1 ratio of organic to inorganic, but using powerful minerals, crystals, gemstones, and superconducting ormus, orbitally rearranged monoatomic elements like platinum, palladium, monoatomic gold is one I use. So there's a lot of different ormus elixirs you can use, and I like monoatomic gold. And those are superconductors that are really powerful, and they have a way of transforming energy. And quartz, and the capstone here, quartz is the ultimate oscillator. It stabilizes energy really well, so that's why it's in electronics and watches and things like that. Obviously, it has a lot of memory too. So when it's under the resin, the resin shrinks around the quartz and the other gemstones and minerals too. It's applying constant pressure. That's called piezoelectricity. So crystals have piezoelectric properties. So when they're under this pressure, they'll activate, right? And so there's a lot of wisdom from the earth in these crystals, and that activates. And all the other properties of the crystals are activating too, of balancing energy, transforming energy. The crystals are just great to have around in general, but when they're in orgonite, they're even more potent because of the piezoelectric properties. So I'll run through here where we keep our devices in the home, and that way I can sort of direct people to, hey, if you get orgonite, this is where I think you should put your stuff. But just going back to the actual devices, again, the bigger the device, the big pyramids, I think, should go on the ground. We want to get the base of this accumulating the surrounding EMF, the surrounding dead energy. There's a lot of EMF underground. There's a lot of EMF, dirty electricity in the walls. And so I feel like if it's on the ground, it's going to pull in all of it, and then it's going to have more space to repel out the good stuff up into where you are, where you're standing or sleeping, And so I use tensor technology in the base. I use radionics as well. So this is a 15 hertz right here, the Mobius coil wrap. Now Wilhelm Reich found that there's a couple things that will stimulate orgone. One of them is a subtle electrical current. Okay, and the other one is radioactive elements, but we're not using like radium, we're not using anything like that. We're just using a subtle electrical current to stimulate this orgone matrix. Okay, so that's going to make it more potent. So the radionics devices are most potent, best recommended for 5G because 5G is higher frequencies. And so we want to get this stimulated orgone to maybe be a little bit more potent and at pulling in the energy and also repelling it. And so the radionics is the way to go for if you have 5G around you or you're in the city. And now we also use neodymium rare earth magnets. We want to get a lot of magnetism. We want to be able to pull in the energy in a really strong way and also repel it in a really strong way. So that's why we coil the copper to route it out. And that's why we use the neodymiums, one on bottom, one on top. And then that's, when you add the tensor technology, it's just going to be sort of the most potent orgonite that I can offer. And so that's why you'll see a lot of combo packs that have these and other devices that you can grid your home with. So let's go grid our home. Let's go see where we're going to grid our home. Once you get your package, where do you put all these devices? Let's go through that real quick. Okay, now when it comes to smart meters, I recommend switching yours out to analog. This is what we've done, and the EMF is much, much lower. This is sort of the old school, so they have to come out and read it. But where I recommend putting the smart meter protector appliance shield is on the inside wall, this being in our garage, right there. So this way it's not exposed to the elements. Okay, so this is our living room. This is where we get indirect sunlight, and it's recommended to get radiation absorbing houseplants and scatter them all throughout your house. Snake plant, spider plant, cactus, stone lotus, ivy are 5 you can use. And this is also a good place to put your biggest pyramids or your foundational pyramids for the home. So there's a pulsed XXL, and then one's a Russian right here, 1 foot tall, about 11 pounds. These ones obviously, on the ground, indirect sunlight all day. This means you don't really ever have to put them outside in the sun. Once in a while, on a full moon, you can put it out for a couple hours, but as long as they're getting that indirect sunlight, they're going to be constantly cleansed, and you can get an occasional moon charge. But real good spot, indirect sunlight with all these other plants as well. All right, for tactical tower busters, you can put them right on top of the soil here, like we have with our avocado tree, or actually buried in the soil. Here's our fig tree, and you can see our tactical down there, and we have another arm growing up right near the tactical. It might be a coincidence, maybe not. A lot of orgonite over here in crystals as well too, but you can place your tree of life right on this with double-sided tape, and or put it right there, whatever you're feeling like. But the more orgonite and crystals around this Wi-Fi router, the better you'll be. Okay, and when it comes to macrocosmic tower busters, these are really compact, portable, and potent, and they have a lot of stuff packed in there. And see our Tesla coil and neodymium. So these can go on a windowsill. Like this one is indirect sunlight pretty much all day. This would be a good spot for a macro. So one can go in each room. And this is my daughter's room. So she's got a couple things on her desk. She's got a small Giza. She's got a shocker calf. And then she's got a couple dream machines. One at the foot of her bed over here, and then one under the bed. If I can find it, there it is, over there. And she sleeps really well, like coma style. So that's how we grid our home with orgonite, and that's another sort of informational video on how they function. So as long as you get orgonite around every EMF source, as long as you get radiation absorbing houseplants, and as long as you get the wired Ethernet, or you plan on doing that, I think you'll be in good shape. Your house will have a much better energetic field.
Wire coils are used in conjunction with a magnet to produce powerful electromagnetism. The more turns of the wire, the stronger the magnetic field. Coils generate vortexes, which in turn create an electromagnetic field. It's all one interconnected system. and we see it everywhere. This is what columns and rotundas were used to generate electromagnetism and carry the current in loops. The torus is found at the base of pretty much every column found throughout our realm. It is everywhere. Look at the movement of electricity through a wire and the simultaneous magnetic field it produces. This is exactly the shape of a column, and we see this present in all of these gigantic and meticulously crafted columns. This is why we see the magnetic field represented at the top of a lot of columns. It's the movement of the ions in the magnetic field. It's the movement of the toroid and the toroidal vortex.
This is my roots and my my roots. My roots. My roots, my roots, my roots. My roots, my roots, my roots. And culture. Oh, my culture. I've been searching for so long, search all over the world, searching for my roots. It was so hard to find until I trotted, and everyone let me know that I have roots. My roots and culture so strong. My roots, my roots, my roots. My roots, my roots, my roots. And culture. Oh, my culture. My roots, my roots, my roots. My roots, my roots, my roots. And culture. I wake up in the morning, see my mother and my brother and my sister. I say good morning in a roots. I say it in a culture. Roots and culture mean love to one another. So I won't we stick together like a bird of one feather. With the roots. I say it a culture. I take up my little kid.